building a self-storage business in today's market. This is what you can learn in today's video. So let's get started. Whether it's a self-storage facility that looks like this, or it could look like this, it doesn't matter. You need three things off the get-go. Number one, you need to know how to evaluate properly, like a pro, commercial real estate. And if you don't know how, that video will appear. Number two, you need to choose a location and stick with it, right? Because every location throughout the U.S. has certain characteristics that you need to learn, okay? And number three, you need to be sticky. Sticky means to be prepared to put the work into your new project, this building of your self-storage business. Commercial takes time, but it's well worth it, okay? Now, the next thing I want to share with you is to expand your deal flow, right? To give yourself the best chance of finding a deal that works for you, that's life-changing, you need to have these types of eyes on, okay? These eyes. So these are three things I want you to focus on when you come across a self-storage facility opportunity, okay? So every deal that you look at, you must look at it from these three eyes, okay? These three focus points, okay? So have these eyes on, okay? So focus number one is look for deals that cash flow well enough to qualify for the best loan options, okay? Because deals that have adequate cash flow, it doesn't have to be super high cash flow, but the cash flow must be adequate enough where it will give you the best loan options. And what I mean by best loan options is it is possible that you could qualify with a 10% down payment or 15% down payment using either an SBA loan, right, which is a Small Business Administration loan, or a local lender also, okay? So 10 to 50% down payment is possible if the deal cash flows enough. So look for cash flow, number one. Number two, look for deals where seller financing is possible. Right? I always preach that when you have a willing seller and a willing buyer, that's you, beautiful things can happen. Okay? So the techniques that we use, that we teach our students are the three. We teach them how to do a master lease agreement, seller carry first mortgage, and seller carry second mortgage. These are three ways to leverage yourself, not only leveraging your way into the building, you're also leveraging your knowledge into building your business, right? So the master lease and these seller carry techniques are taught in this video I called Buying Commercial Real Estate Without Bank Loans. That video will appear as well, okay? So watch it, okay? Number three is look for deals that have expansion potential. So you may have this building over here, right? These 4 or 5, 6 different buildings of self-storage units, but you have this vacant land that you also own. Look for opportunities where you have land on the side where you can add units, you can add climate control units, you can just add covered RV stalls. Many of our students are doing just that by adding value, by adding the income to property. So when you can add units, look what happens. You can leverage it into more income, right? Higher NOI, higher cash flow, and then higher property value. Okay, so these three things you must look for in every single deal before you pass on it, okay? This way, your deal flow is much more expansive. Got it? All right. So now, what I want to do is share with you such a student. We have a student named Dean. He did all three in a relatively short time, and I'm going to share with you his video, all right? Now, but before I do that, to give you more context to all the great things that he's just done, what I want to do is I want to share with you his three deals. I'll break them down very quickly for you, and then we'll jump into his video. All right? Okay, let's do that next. All right, let's do a quick synopsis of our student Dean's three deals. Okay, these are his first three deals. He has quite a few more deals in the hopper, but these are his first three. Let's go over them real quick, and then after I do this quick synopsis, I'll take you over to his video where he'll lay out for you how everything transpired. Okay, he's an awesome guy. Wait until you see his video. All right, so his storage deal number one, it was a small deal. So he was a small medium to large. This is a small one, so it's 9,100 square feet, 52 units. So in this self-storage business, relatively small, okay? It's distressed. So the seller was distressed. She's a school teacher, had no business in buying a self-storage building, and royally blew it. And here comes Dean to the rescue. Okay, so there she was asking $495,000. After a bit of negotiations, Dean got it down to $274,000. This is one of the reasons you need to have a mentor, okay, or counselors or advisors, right? Don't try to do this by yourself. Seller finance deal for 3 years. All right, so Dean put down a down payment. The seller did a seller carry first, so the seller held the mortgage for him. Okay, we have all the paperwork for that. And then in 3 years, Dean has to pay her off. So in these 3 years, he's going to fix up the property, stabilize it, have it worth a whole lot more, and then go exit out of it. Let me show you how that's done. Okay, so 3 year seller financing. Dean has to put in between $19,000 and $20,000, or he already has, by the way, of money into the property, kind of fix it up. And the active repair value, once it's all said and done, this is today, is between $475,000 and $500,000. Okay, there's even room for expansion. I believe he can add 9 or 10 climate control units into this office that he's going to convert into storage. So that's there too. That's not added here. Okay, the exit strategy for this deal is to on the 3rd year, Dean is going to put a long-term loan on the property, pay off the seller's first mortgage, right? And then he's going to pull money out to reimburse himself for his down payment and the renovation costs. And then he's going to hold it long-term. Okay, so that's his goal. That's deal number 1, right? So we'll show you a picture of what the property looks like as well. Okay, here's deal number 2. This one is, this deal number 1 was distressed. This one is turnkey. It's stable, right? It's going to cash flow from day 1 about $7,000 a month. Okay, so it's 15,000 square feet of storage units, 115 units total. All right, as I said, it's turnkey. It's stable, cash flowing day 1. There's a cash flow number. It has the thing we like about this property. It has the expansion potential. So he can actually add 19 climate controlled units to the property, right? At a very little cost, by the way, okay? And that's going to add each of those units, he can charge $150 a month each, okay? That's about $34,000 of income per year, okay? If you do the math, at a 7 cap rate area, he's going to add between $480,000 to $500,000 in forced depreciation once this project here, this expansion project, is done, right? And it'll cost him a fraction of that upside to complete. Okay, again, distress, stable with expansion potential. That's deal number 2. All right, Dean's deal number 3 is working on right now. It's a large one, right? It's a complex deal, but guess what? He can do it. It's 119,000 square feet. $2.5 million purchase price, and he's doing a master lease agreement on this property. As you know, at Commercial Property Advisors, we love to use the master lease agreement. I believe we're the best at it in this business. Okay, and we're going to use a 10% down payment. By the way, if you want to learn how a master lease agreement works, I have a video just on that, and it'll appear on the screen. Okay, so it's called the master lease agreement. Right, 10% down payment, so $250,000 down payment, and it's going to be for it's also a 3-year deal, right? And this, here's the reason: sellers are getting out of the business. It's a family-owned business, right? And they're about to lose their largest tenant in about 3 months, so they don't want to go through the cost, the trouble, the hassle of refilling their largest tenant. So they're ready to let it go now. Because Dean is losing this large tenant, we can't go and get traditional bank financing because the numbers won't support $2.5 million. Right? So this is a problem that many will run from, and they'll say, okay, there's nothing I can do. But us, no, we're going to do a master lease agreement on this property. So he's going to purchase it By the way, Dean already has some other tenants in mind to fill up that space. Actually, one tenant to fill up that large space, right? So we have, in addition to losing this one tenant, we have an additional 32,000 square feet of vacancy existing today. So there's no way that this property will qualify for a conventional loan. This is why we have to do something creative. Again, as I mentioned before, when you have a willing seller and a willing buyer, that's our student, wonderful things can happen. Okay, and this is a wonderful deal. So with just this vacancy, Dean has a $34,000 a month upside in rents. Okay, that's per month. I won't tell you what that equals in forced appreciation to blow your mind, but that's huge. That's huge. All right. So again, I didn't want to spend too much time on this. I'm going to let Dean do the talking on how he managed to build his self-storage business in today's market. So let's go to the video, and once we're done with that, let's come back for a quick summary. All right? I'll see you there.
Hello, everyone. Peter here. Hey, I have a very special guest for you, Dean Vance, all the way from Tennessee, here today, this morning, to share his journey on building his self-storage business. So we're going to hear about his journey, how he got started, and 3 awesome deals that he's in the process of doing. And then at the end, he will share with you how he got started, so you can put yourself in his shoes. So thank you, Dean, for joining us this morning.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Peter. Glad to be here.
You're welcome.
It's an honor to be here.
Oh, great. All right. So, Dean, let's jump into it. Could you share with us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Well, I'm married to my wife, Holly, 25 years now. We're celebrating our 25th anniversary, actually. It'll be this summer. We have three kids, two girls and a boy, 2 in college, and 1 still in high school, a junior in high school now. I spent the first part of my career as an athletic trainer, and but then moved into sales and spent probably 20 plus years in sales. The last 20 of those running a commercial office furniture dealership as a part owner for 2 different groups. Learned a lot of things in that process that fortunately now are starting to help me today with what we're doing. So, I would say I'm a self proclaimed workaholic. Unfortunately, I don't have too many hobbies. I do like to CrossFit. And try to get outdoors whenever I can, and I do a lot of home projects and things like that. So yeah,
that's great. No, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And you came to us a few months ago, and it sounds like you had a great career, and now you're transitioning full time into commercial real estate, and you contacted us.
Yeah.
So there's something behind you wanting to jump into commercial real estate. What does that mean?
Yeah. So interesting kind of path. I mean, ironically, probably when I was, I believe 25 years ago, I got my license to be a real estate agent. That was more residential stuff, but at the time had zero mentorship. I was trying to do it part-time. And I was pretty much lost. That did not last long because I had no clue how to operate. And so I focused on other parts of my career. And then probably 3 years ago, I began to explore life after my career of doing what I was doing in the office furniture industry. And real estate kind of popped back into my head. It was something that I gravitated naturally back to, I think. And I started doing research on the internet and looking at content on YouTube, and that's when Peter popped up. So I started watching your videos, and the commercial side of it really appealed to me. I knew a lot of commercial real estate brokers based on my previous career, and those guys were successful, and I knew real estate owners who own commercial buildings, and all those guys are really successful. And so it just, that on top of what I was doing in that world of working closely with these professionals, it just was of great interest to me. So that's how I got into it, I suppose. So yeah, that was 3 years ago. In 2019, I decided to make the call. I'd watched probably every video that you had ever sent out, and it was something about you, Peter, that I liked. There's lots of people out there that want to be, to mentor people in the commercial real estate world. And, that sure, there are plenty of options, but it was you and your mannerisms and, your approach and your content that appealed to me. And so I made the call probably about this time in 2019. And Holly and I, we signed up, and 6 months later, there was an opportunity that came about with my company where I could exit the business and get out all of my equity and pursue this full time. And so, it's interesting how things work. And I knew that was my opportunity. I needed to jump and take a leap of faith. And I did. Unbeknownst to me, we were about to enter into the world of COVID, and things were about to get a little hairy, but we did it. Fast forward to where we are today, and I've got three deals under my belt, and a few others that are in the hopper, and it's really exciting. So
yeah, that's awesome, Dean. So Dean, thanks for sharing that. So your first deal, your self-storage deal, was a small property. It was 52 units, about 9,000 square feet, and so you brought it. It was a bit distressed. Could you share a little bit about that deal? Because it wasn't a turnkey deal. You had to, you and I have been on the phone for about a year now, behaving this property until it becomes profitable. Now it's really profitable. So could you share the journey there?
So that property was, as you put it, it was a mess. It was owned by a retired school teacher who had taken her, lifelong, investments and invested into this property. And she had basically allowed the deferred maintenance just to really overtake the property itself. And when we took over the property, we were able to negotiate the price down. I think originally they thought they could get $495,000 for it, and it was, I believe at the time, it was roughly 20% occupied. So it wasn't generating much income at all. And so we were able to negotiate the price down and do some creative financing of sorts. She still had a note on the property, and we worked out some owner financing. I had to put down a fairly large down payment, but she financed the remainder, and we did that a 3-year period at 4.5% interest only loan, and then we were off to the races. That was last year. October 31st, we closed.
Yeah.
So,
right. And you more than half cut the price of the property, or close to half of the asking price, right? After negotiations.
Yes.
Yeah.
She wasn't. Yeah, she was ready to move it, and so it really worked out for everybody. And so since then, well, to tell you how bad it was, I just during my personal inspection of the property, I was walking through the office space and heard a crash, and walked back into the next room, and two raccoons were walking along the desk. So that gives you a taste of how the condition of this property. It was a jungle, literally, with overgrown vegetation growing into some of the units, and it was quite a bit of work to get it turned around.
It was a mess. And so the goal there was to purchase it with seller financing. You chop nearly half off her asking price, and they go in and fix up the property. And then the goal is to maximize the income, stabilize the income, and then now you're in the process, hopefully within this year or next year, to pay her off and put long-term financing on it. Is that right?
That's correct. Peter, it happened, so quickly. I was skeptical of how quickly I'd be able to get it turned around. I think you probably knew all along, but I did not. I was really shocked at how once we got the property cleaned up and the space usable, we ramped up really quickly getting renters in. We worked with a software company that specializes in storage to help automate the rental process, and now I can say that as of today, we have every unit rented with the exception of one, and we have several more units about to come online. So I guess you want to know, kind of where we are as far as cash flow right now. We will be cash flowing around $3,000 once everything is stabilized, and we have the potential to add another roughly $2,000 in cash flow.
Through the expansion, you're going to add probably 9 or 10 climate control units, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So the big picture is that you bought it for $270. You put about $20,000 into it, and a lot of sweat equity.
Yes.
Right? And then now ARV after repair value is between $450,000 and $500,000. Is that right?
Correct. And I think it will go beyond that once, like I said, once we get these other properties in there, it will be even higher than that.
Great.
So.
Okay, great. Okay. And Dane, thanks for sharing deal number one. Let's go to deal number two. That one is 115 units, right? And I think it's about 15,000 square feet. But this one is a bit different. It's pretty much turnkey, right? So
yes.
Not a lot of hair on it, not a lot of repairs to do, but it's pretty much turnkey with expansion potential. Is that right?
That's correct.
And cash flowing from day one. So share with us this deal.
So yeah, interesting deal. I would say that we ran across this back in the summer, and began working with the owner. The owner was, older gentleman, probably nearing retirement, and he had a total of 4 facilities that he was running, and this particular one was outside of his kind of geographical. It was kind of the outlier of the 4. And so he was ready to sell it and kind of constrict his territory to that particular geographic area that he's in now. So to make it easier on himself. And so that presented a great opportunity for us. We took a look at it. He had already had a deal fall through. And so we hopped in. He was asking $995,000 for the property. And I felt like we could work on that number. And at that time, it was 87% occupied. The catch was all of his documents were handwritten, literally on small note cards and are on his agreements for each of the renters in very, very small print, every transaction that he ever did with them. So it was very difficult to follow his things, and we knew that might present a problem for our financing, but we put together rent rolls electronically and the forms that we have, and put together a nice package, and we took it to 3 financing entities, 2 local small community banks, and then also we looked at SBA, small business loan. And in the end, we decided to go with one of the local banks where I had a good relationship, and I hadn't done any business with them before. And we were able to get a 85% loan to value with a great interest rate. Fortunately, I was very fortunate in that, over a 25-year amortization. And so that really made the property cash flow hum and very attractive. In the middle of all of this negotiation and due diligence, the property went to 100% occupancy. And, some of that was because my property was full, my other property was full, and I was referring him folks that would call me looking for space. So he ended up renting to several, people that I sent his direction. So I ended up helping myself out on that deal. So yeah, in the end, right now, I think this first month we were cash positive over $7,000.
Awesome.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah. And to add to that, you have potential to add about 19 or 20 10 by 15 climate controlled units.
Correct.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And that will add how much more per month?
That would add another. Oh gosh, I didn't write that number down. I think it's roughly $2,000.
Okay.
Give or take.
Okay.
So.
Okay. I think it was like 150, right? I think 150 unit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's $3,000 a month.
Sorry. Yes.
Right? Times 12. That's $36,000 more per year. And what's the market cap rate, Dean, approximately?
The market cap rate right now on that property is an 8.
Okay.
I'd say.
Let's do 8. And so once you're done with adding those climate control units, you've added $450,000 in equity in forced appreciation. Yeah.
Yes.
So winner. That's a winner deal right there.
That's right.
Great.
That's right.
All right. So the next deal number 3, is probably the most exciting one, right? And this one is 119,000 square feet. It's a huge property. And this deal has come about being because, you really honor relationships. You take care of people around you. And I always say that commercial estate is a relationship-based business. And a big chunk of this deal was obtained because of your relationships. Is that right?
That's correct. I mean, I unbeknownst to me, the owner of this property, or the husband of one of the owners of this property, was someone I had known for, many, many years. And I found out about the property through another relationship that I had, and found out that they might be interested in potentially selling, and through a relationship. And so we approached them, and that was a year ago. and I've tried to stay in touch. And then a couple of weeks ago, I got a telephone call out of the blue, and basically, he said, we're ready to talk, and we're coming to you first. So I really believe that, I mean, it's exactly what you said, Peter. I mean, it's a relationship business. I've throughout my entire career, I've heard and known that. And it's important to recognize that it doesn't happen overnight, and it takes time, and it takes consistency, I think. And that's how this relationship matured, basically, was we didn't have a business deal, then. It was just us working together through a nonprofit organization and building that rapport. So I guess we'll go on and talk a little bit more about the deal. It's 100 and
this is the master lease agreement is one of my favorite techniques, and so you've put together a tremendous master lease agreement on this deal. So share with us what that is.
Sure. So this property is a 119,000 square foot warehouse facility. It's adjacent to one of my other properties. And the father recently passed away, so the family inherited it. And they are all kind of retirement age. So one of the sisters lives in a different state, and one is here and kind of runs some of the business, but they're looking and they have interest in other areas. So I knew early on, last year, this would be a prime opportunity if I ever had the window to present it for the master lease agreement. And so we sat down after touring the facility with Bob, one of the owners, and learning kind of what's their hot buttons are and what's important to them. I pulled together a package with the master lease agreement. I really kind of reviewed, and put together a dialogue with them to explain how I could execute this project, because it's a big deal, and kind of make them comfortable with it. They are asking $2.5 million for the property. And so I presented my package to them.
Sorry to interrupt you, but they're asking $2.5 million, but prior to that, you told me that you were surprised at the price. You thought they're going to be well above $3 million, right?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be between $3 to $4 million. I really did. And so when he told me the day we were touring, it was everything I could do not to go, let's do this deal right now. So I was.
So share the master lease agreement terms.
Yeah, so our terms are 10% down payment. They will hold the note for 3 years at 5% interest, and then we'll seek conventional financing after that date.
So no bank involved at all, right? Master lease, 10% down, just the two attorneys together hashing out the terms.
That is correct. I didn't know what their response was going to be to this structure, but after I heard what they were going through as a family, I felt like, and then learned some things about the deal. I mean, I think the big one that would help support why I was approaching them about the master lease. I mean, I think the big one was that they have a large tenant that is moving out and is vacating in the beginning of the year. And that would leave a huge hole in their income. And so the ability to get financing would probably be jeopardized because of that. And so I presented that to them, and he understood it. And I explained that this would give me the opportunity to correct all of that. And then I also found out that they have 30,000 square feet of space that's not even being utilized currently right now. So, again,
Wow.
there's major upside in the deal. And so very exciting, opportunity. And, we are still in negotiations. We're meeting with the attorneys next week, and we'll be putting that in front of the master lease agreement in front of them, but we have an agreement in principle. So
awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome. And the extra strategy on that one is to purchase it. You will be losing your large tenant in a few months next year, but you have someone in mind that can move in, so you get that taken care of. And then the goal is to get the rents up, get the additional 30,000 square foot leased up, and then stabilize the NOI and take the project to the bank. Is that right?
Correct. That's exactly right.
Yeah. And you can probably, at closing, take out your $250,000 down payment.
I think easily, I believe we could do that. It is well under market value rents right now. And so there's a lot of room for improvement, much like the storage facilities that we have. So,
Awesome. Okay. So from 9,000 square feet, first one, to 15,000, and now to 119,000. So I wonder if the next deal is going to be 200,000 or 300,000.
I honestly don't know, but I definitely have the bug now. So, it's coming together, and it's exciting.
That's great. Now, with that said, share with us, what does the future look like? So what are your plans, Dean?
Yeah. So, I mean, the future for me, things are working out better than what I thought they would. I didn't know how long this was going to take, but I definitely want to continue to repeat this process. I mean, I think that's number one, and keep building my portfolio. So long-term holds, cash out refinance, forcing equity in all of these properties. I think there's lots of upside for each one of them. And right now, I also have another, 139 unit facility that we're evaluating right now, storage facility, and then another 26,000 square foot warehouse space as well. So there are other things in the immediate pipeline. I also, I'd love to begin to build some relationships with other investors to bring on, and for syndication opportunities that we've talked about together. And I'm also interested in multifamily. That's why I got into this. That's what intrigued me the most about the commercial real estate was multifamily. Right now, it's a hot market. There's not a lot of deals to be had that I've been able to find in my area. I think they're definitely still out there. I mean, even running across, although they're not multifamily, running across the ones I have found is proof that the deals are out there. You just have to know, you have to be patient, and when they come up, you got to jump on them and act quickly.
Absolutely.
So, and I'm just honestly blessed to be here right now where I am. I spent 20 years in an industry that was very unforgiving and difficult. And it took a toll on me and my family. And now, I have this opportunity to, as a personal goal, it was for me I've helped build a business, with people, but I've never done anything on my own. And this is kind of a goal that I wanted to accomplish, was to strike out on my own and build something from the ground up. And that's what we're working towards right now. and I couldn't do it without you. I knew that when I left my career that I couldn't afford to make any mistakes, and I knew that I had to hire, bring a mentor into my into my life, and I'm certainly glad that I found you. So
awesome. So with that said, Dean, can you share maybe one or two things for the beginning self-storage investor? Where should they begin, or one or two things?
Yeah, I mean, a few things that I came up with that really resonate with me is, I mean, this is a people business, and in the storage world, you're dealing with people, everyday people who a lot of whom are going through a crisis sometimes in their life, or major change, which is why they're looking for storage. And so it's an opportunity to help people. And for me, that's part of my DNA. I like to help people. And so that is the fun part about it, is the ability to work with people on a day-to-day basis. I would say, it's a competitive market only because you're looking at, it's kind of transactional. You're dealing with space and, a box basically in this case. And so you have to figure out what's your competitive advantage. And when people call, sometimes they're shopping you around, but it's building that kind of quick rapport with folks that helps you get people in the door. Also, you got to buy it right. I think you have to find, and you have to make sure that the numbers work, and you don't want to overpay for a property like this. And when it does work, and when you do find that opportunity, you got to jump on it pretty quick. The numbers are easy to come about, and Peter can certainly help you do that. And I would say another thing, I mean, just thinking about, I do own a duplex as well, and the other thing that you don't have to deal with is you don't have toilets, you don't have plumbing issues, you don't have a lot of there's not a lot of operating expenses. I mean, there are operating expenses, but they're easy to maintain for the most part. And there's software out there that can help you automate the process. And if you can automate that process, as far as what I've done in my career, this is by far the easiest thing that I've ever done. I get to deal with people. The system is automated for the most part, and it's a pretty simple process. And then I think the one downside that I would say with this is, the ability to force the equity, like with an apartment, there's ways to force equity, but with storage, it's, unless you're adding units or something like that, it's a little bit more difficult to force equity. But that's the one downside I would say. It's not, it is, you have to search hard to figure out ways to force your equity on that property, but it's possible. It is possible.
Yeah. And all three of your deals, you are forcing the equity.
Yes.
Some way. Yep. Shape away. Yep. Awesome.
That's right.
All right, Dean. Wow. This is a great interview. And so now everyone can, the last, half hour of it on here, everyone can kind of see the journey of you, being in the corporate world, getting burnt out, and then taking the leap of faith, jumping into commercial estate, hiring us to help you along the way, and sticking with it, right? Sticking with it. And I know that your wife, Holly, was instrumental in having you stick with it. That's the role of our wives, right? Just encourage us. And then you put in the work. And now look where you are. Look where you are now. So there's no going back now, only forward.
That's right. Only going forward.
Yeah. Yeah. So thank you for your time today. And so we'll be talking next week on this National Lease Agreement deal. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Peter. Thank you very much.
All right, welcome back. Wasn't that an awesome real life interview, right? Real life. This interview is what I call faith in action, okay? Faith in action. A guy who joined our program, took the leap of faith to leave his job and working his butt off and not looking back. This is a real life example of faith in action. All right, so do me a favor, click a like on this video and also send Dean an encouraging comment. Tell him to go. Tell him congratulations, okay? All right, so now I want to wrap up this video, share with you two quick things. The first thing I want to share with you is when you have a powerful why, then the how-to is not so difficult, okay? Look at Dean's two powerful whys. Dean's first why was job burnout, right? Corporate burnout. He burnt out himself, his family, his health, and his wealth from his job. Can you relate to that? I'm sure you can. The second why, he spent his work life building other people's businesses, okay? He spent his lifetime making other people rich. Now it's his turn, okay? So question here, can you relate to these two, right? If you can, what are you going to do about it, okay? So Dean is a living example of someone who did something about it. All right, so now I'm going to move on to Dean's, what I call, 3 keys to success. Key number 1 was, these are Dean's words. He says, a part of my DNA, and that's Dean, a part of my DNA is to help people. Okay, so as you can see, Dean is all about relationships. He takes care of people, he honors his word, and he works his butt off. All right, so this is so much a relationship-based business, and Dean is doing exactly that. And look at the fruits of it. Okay, key number 2 to Dean says you gotta buy it right. Okay, those are Dean's exact words. So you have to know the business. Okay, so and this is what our company is about: teaching people how to do this business in a very passionate way. Number 3, the third key to Dean's success was to have automation of his self-storage business. Okay, so Dean uses a software. Well, all of our students that do self-storage they use easy storage software. Okay, and it's a software that allows you to sign up people, do your marketing, collect rent, send out late notices, lock them out, full accounting, full reporting, all in your home, right on your keyboard. Everything's done there. You can open up the gate to your self-storage. Everything is done online. He uses this software. So those are the key 3 things. All right, everyone. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Again, if you like this video, press the like button, but also please encourage Dean. Tell him congratulations and keep on going. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching this video. Building a self-storage business in today's market. This is a great example. I'll see you at the next video.